Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers, if you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money, so we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Welcome back to the Parkman Files, the Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things Heroes related, including its sister/sequel show, Heroes Reborn. I am Lilith, and on the hunt for specials with me, as always, is
Ricky.
For discussion today is episode 317, Cold Wars, aka Flashback in Black and White number 2. Stylistically, I like the choices, but the story still feels bloated.
No, I actually quite like the story, but yeah, we'll have our little discussions as it goes on.
Definitely. So let's just head into the recap. The technical specs for this episode first aired on February 23rd, 2009. We have Aaron E. Coletti and Joe Pekowski, as well as Christopher Zatter writing. 3 people. It shows. It was directed by Seth Mann. And I believe Ricky has the synopsis for us, yeah?
Yes. Matt interrogates the captured Noah to find out how he began working with Nathan to abduct those with abilities. The information Matt uncovers leads Peter to confront Danko. And there's a lot more in there that isn't covered, but yeah.
Yeah, basically an unexpected prophecy, quote-unquote, is revealed, and a close ally is shown to be alive, is what I have for other major plot points and players at this point. People, places, and things we need to know. Noah's storage unit.
I've got notes on, like, just the story in general. Obviously, we talked about how there's that kind of company man feel to it. And I think that, you're focusing on one story. And once again, like with company man, you're focusing pretty much on one story for the whole thing. And that kind of makes it a bit more grounded and a bit more... The episode flow a bit better in my eyes anyway. You've got the focus on individual characters and their emotions to the wider plot arc, the arc plot. And it kind of sees where they've gone and where they're going. Much like Company Man, Noah's still a mystery. We obviously know that he's always going to be protecting his family. But obviously in this one we also learn that, he's kind of trying to take down the beast from the inside, and we see this. He says this one thing in it, which I think is very telling about his character. And this is all I've ever known. And we've seen that, like, just even in the form of the graphic novels. Like that bit where that graphic novel where he encounters Marcus the Crumpling Man, where he's going from season, like the in between season 1 and season 2 volumes. Where, even though he says he's done with this life, he still can't stop, he just can't switch it off. He's always working.
And we literally don't really find out the true motivation for that until the end of the series, basically.
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, the company did keep these people, these specials under wraps for 20 years. So, they must have been doing something right. Even though the system is old and antiquated, much like...
I mean, pen and paper still works at the end of the day.
Exactly.
I think my favorite thing about this episode is the fact that Siler isn't in it, and that it's only one single storyline being told. Like, that's definitely really different for Heroes, and I like when they have a solid, straightforward focus. It just seems like the flow and the pacing goes a little better.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with that, because you're basically, the crux of the episode is you've got two kind of stories going on. You're telling the past, which is obviously how Noah came to start working for Nathan and how he got involved in it. But then it's also kind of informing where the present day storyline is going. So obviously, they see that there's the the storage unit, and that in like has Peter go over there, and they find out who the name of the big boss is, and that's when Peter ends up going to Danko, and it's twofold this episode in the fact that it's kind of giving you context into Noah, the character, and how he works into the overall arc of the government plot, and how it helps the heroes kind of inform where they're going to go and how they're going to try and take down the government. So yeah.
It is also the 17th episode of the season, but I feel like this lacks a little less substance and even a little less stylistic quality to it than, I guess, because they're kind of retreading a little bit. So that's kind of balance that happened. That's the only thing that I will say when they try to recapture that nostalgia of a really great episode. And they've done this several times, and I felt the exact same way about every time they've tried to attempt things.
Fair enough.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah. We might as well start with, we'll touch on Nathan and Danko, and then we'll just go into Noah and everything that kind of spins off from that. Because, no, we might as well just go through the whole story from beginning to end, because it all kind of starts and begins with Noah, and it kind of offshoots into there.
Okay.
So yeah.
So like previously on Heroes, Matt, Mohinder, and Peter kidnapped Noah, drunk Noah, who they roofied.
Yes, essentially, yeah.
And they take him to this little dark, dank motel that is, yes, if you watch My Name is Earl, that is the exact motel. And so like they're kind of trying to figure out what to do. And then, Peter comes back and he's got a bottle of troop serum.
Yes.
Basically. Where he got that, I'll never know. Phenobarbital, I believe, is the name of that concoction.
Yes.
So then, like, they're talking about what to do, and then they're like, Peter and Mohinder are like, we're uncomfortable drugging Noah. Matt's like, nah, it's fine.
But Matt's obviously going through that kind of, he's just trying to take his mind off Daphne being dead, and he's kind of out. He seems like he's out for vengeance, and the only way that he knows is to try and blame the person who kind of is at the top of the thing, and that's what's his motivation for this whole episode. That and just being sweaty in a room with Noah.
So yeah, they basically try to dig into his memories, but like Noah's trying to like justify it, and he goes, even without Primatech, the company could still be operational.
Yeah.
Oh dear Noah.
I know, right? So it starts off with a flashback to just after Primatech is gone, and Noah is basically getting his severance, which
nice gold watch.
A nice, yeah, it's blatantly a gold watch. Like you don't know until the end, but it's obviously a gold watch that Bob did before. He just did a lot of watches before he passed on, and it's him like being quote unquote normal, and he just can't do it. Like he's sitting there doing crosswords, and you can tell he's bored, and he knows all these things, but he just can't like. It's just the mundanity of life, putting his drink on a coaster and stuff like that, and that's kind of how it starts. And then obviously Nathan knocks on the door, and basically starts trying to win him round about the government kind of stuff. And he says something like, basically he says they're gonna start rounding up the specials. And Noah's like, well, what about you? And Nathan just comes up with the line, certain exceptions need to be made. And that's obviously, he said it before, I can fly, what can I do? And his power has never been his like synthetic power. It's always been his political power, which has kind of driven him as a character. So yeah. And then they both end up starting talking about it. Noah obviously believes that he's going to be in charge, and eventually finds out that he's middle management again, which he's probably none too pleased about, because obviously he goes to Danko and says, well, here's what we're going to do. He basically wants to recreate the company, but in the government, under the government guise, and Danko's just pretty much, no, it's not going to happen. It's either going to be one of us and one of us, or one of us and two of us. Or how about one of us and 12 of us versus one of them? And I think that's a great kind of way he puts it.
I mean, honestly, this could have all just been a flashback. Like, I didn't need them checking his vitals and getting uncomfortable and then him waking up and weaseling his way out of it.
No, I think you kind of needed that because at one point, like you can see when at one point you can kind of see him like looking around, and then they kind of look back at him, and he kind of like he's playing possum the whole
Yeah.
time. And I like that kind of. I like that Noah's still got his head in the game, and he's still able to like play them off against each other, whether or not like they were pulling specific memories out of him, or if he was pushing them.
Well, I feel like it was like that Siler thing, and it's like, damn it, Mohinder, can you not fall for the same thing over and over again?
But obviously, like he's pushing forward some memories which can kind of be beneficial to him, and one of them is obviously Mohinder knew about it. HRG was going to go through with it or not.
It goes like 5 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks. That's
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, we've already passed the 3 weeks, and then it's like when Matt breaks his connection with Bennett, they kind of immediately returns reality. That's when the fight happens about Mohinder knowing you could have warned everybody, and then like Noah escapes.
Let's bring up something that I think is very very important, especially for your slash fix. Mohinder's on top, and obviously Matt's on the bottom. So yeah, I just thought I'd have to bring that up.
That's always been my headcanon. I don't need that reinforced at all.
Noah is on the run for about all of 2 minutes, and Peter finds him by landing on a car in full view of no one. But still, it's a bit, blatantly. So yeah. So then they take him back and they start digging deeper. Obviously, Matt at this point is kind of being driven over the edge by like just, the scene, like the thought of Daphne dying, and he tries to say that it's not about that, but it obviously is.
Totally about that.
Yeah, and the whole kind of Matt digging in deep into kind of Noah's head, kind of. I'm thinking we're going to see that again in Reborn, because they've been like both of them have been in interviews talking about the scene that they have together where he's trying to pick out memories from his head, and obviously that's something that's been taken away from. Like we know obviously that Noah starts off with very little memory of his life, kind of some of the aspects of his life before the explosion. So yeah, I think this is gonna pretty much happen again at one point. Matt just looking at him all sweaty. He probably won't be sweaty this time because he's got a bit more wherewithal about him and his powers. But yes,
yeah.
We also find out how the government has so many files on these people, and it's basically the Primatech files that Noah had taken from Primatech.
Start this volume. The files that Nathan gives to the president came directly from Noah.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
We also find out that basically Nathan kind of doesn't really have a plan. He knows that he kind of wants to round up all these specials, and he says he wants to imprison them. Well, not imprison them, but he wants to hold them
long-term containment.
Long-term containment, but he also says that he wants to try and find a way to take away their powers. Mm-hmm. And when Noah questions that, he goes, "Well, I got my powers through synthetic means. We should be able to take them away." And that's quite a good kind of thought process, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, once again, it's that kind of Nathan quick changing character. He obviously at the beginning of at the end of last season, he wanted to give powers to like everyone, and within the span of like 3 weeks and seeing the destruction that it caused, he wants to take away the powers from people. So yeah.
Nathan's always been that quick change Johnny, so it's okay with me at this point.
Yeah.
He's lost and wandering in the desert, and it's why what happens to him.
Definitely.
Anyway, so they get back into his head without the use of drugs, and then they see Noah. The time frame is 1 week earlier, and it's Noah going to Danko's apartment to discuss their mission. And then he basically tells him that he's weak because he split his focus because of Claire. And I'm like, ooh, you shouldn't talk like that. And Danko makes sure that he tells Noah that, yo, I'm the boss. You can either continue work or hit the bricks.
Yeah, definitely.
I like Danko for that.
You kind of also see Danko, kind of how his mind operates. Like he's got cameras everywhere. Like he's got cameras at Noah's storage unit, and you can kind of see how how he's able to take people down so easily, because he's using like all these kind of cameras like that he's placed everywhere, and he kind of knows where people are, and that's how he's able to get to like the heroes so quickly, and how he's able to take them down so quickly. He's like a tenacious little dog, like a little Jack Russell, just like nipping at your heels. But also you can kind of see his mind at work, like in this episode. Obviously, he sees like Nathan get from one place to another like really quickly.
Like, how'd you get here so fast? Well, Peter takes him hostage.
Yeah, and it kind of signposts the whole way through, and yeah, I like that.
He was a smart villain, which we didn't actually really have a lot of. So that was, I mean, Siler, yeah, but it was for selfish means. This guy's just like a straight up bigot bad guy.
Pretty much, yeah. He's like Noah, but I think he's kind of like Noah, but like the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah, he has nothing to lose. This is
exactly
life.
Yeah. I also want to bring up that essentially Matt has painted his own quote unquote death. Like, I don't think. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that when that episode comes up. But I do like that kind of standoff between Nathan and Peter as well.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a very good scene. You know, they're basically trying to stop each other from like, not stop each other. They're basically trying to talk the other one out of doing what they're going to do. And of course it ends in a stalemate. But yeah.
I really hated the reveal that Daphne was alive though.
Yeah, but I think it's something that had to happen, and it does, and it's not that long, so yeah.
I know it's not that long, but still, it's just like, you knew this girl for like 5 minutes, Matt. Like, what? So what else happens?
I think that's pretty much it.
They get captured, kind of, sort of. That standoff was like, had so much promise.
How many times?
those standoffs had so much promise, it was like, nah, no worries.
Oh no, it's only Mohinder. Mohinder's the only one who gets captured, and it's obviously the only reason he gets captured is because he's essentially sacrificing himself for the greater good. And by that I mean he feels guilty about what's happening, so he thinks, oh, I deserve this, and that's kind of why he gets captured.
Yeah. And then like Mohinder's like in that Tracy chair, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, throw that bucket of water on him. Mm-hmm. Sorry. And then, like, Nathan reveals the second half of his scheme to Mohinder, and then he's like, we're gonna get the world's best scientist to find a cure to take away these abilities. He laughs. He gives him the ultimatum, join him and work for a cure. He and Daphne, Peter, and Matt, and everyone will be killed. And I'm like, I feel like we've seen this before. 5 years gone much?
Yeah, definitely.
But that's not where they were going, because basically, is this the episode where he shows Daphne that he's like, no, I just didn't want to have to carry you down here? Is that this one?
No, that's the next one.
Damn it, they all do run together.
I know, right? See, and I even thought that this one was the Sandra one, but it's not. The Sandra one's the next one. Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, so like after that, then we see Danko and Noah discussing the kidnapping, and Danko suggests Noah takes a few days off. Noah's like, I ain't got no time to take no days off. My wife left me. My kids won't talk to me. This is all I have. So then, you know, Danko tells Bennett that Nathan let his personal interest get in the way of the mission, and he needs Noah's help to escalate the war. Noah agrees, like, yeah, I'm down. And then we see him strolling over to a park bench to sit next to Angela Petrusky. I'm like, yes! Like a boss, Angela's still in control.
And she hasn't been in it like for these past couple of episodes.
Well, but they'll make up for it.
Yeah, damn right they will. She's a main cast now. She's not guest anymore, so you know, gonna make use of that money.
Like literally, like after this episode, they make all the use of it until the end of the series. So I don't know. Then they see that we're in Isaac's loft, and his eyes are Isaac White, and he's painting several images of what appears to be a pipe bomb. And then he like panics, and then Peter's like, "You can never be a mass murderer." And then Matt looks at the floor, and it's like kind of like how Isaac's painting of New York. It's right where it was, and it's like instead of New York, it's Washington D.C. And I'm like, recycle much? That's my biggest issue with this episode, I guess.
I don't know. I think I can see where you're going with that, but where they actually do go with it, kind of is, you know, it's quick and simple.
It is.
So yeah. It's kind of like a red herring at this point, because we're conditioned watching Heroes that, you know, it's going to be something big that's kind of gonna happen, like world destroying or world altering, because obviously something like that is going to alter, the kind of fabric of the universe that they're in. And that's always like the main plot point. It's never, just people on the run and stuff like that. And I think that's why this season kind of works better than the rest of them, because it's not something that's going to affect the whole world. It's just something that's affecting these characters in this little small space. And obviously, like, if it escalated more than it would, then it would affect the whole world. But it's still self-contained to these kind of people, and it never goes outside of this set of heroes. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's time for the highlights.
Yes.
Your favorite character?
I am going to go with Noah, because it's his episode, and he's a boss. How about you?
Definitely Noah, but I kind of liked Peter in this episode too. He got some action. He got a funny line. He was very tolerable, and that's a really big compliment coming from me.
But he's been quite tolerable for like most of the season, and by season I mean this volume. He's very much like Claire this volume as well. He's been very proactive, and he's more of like, whereas Claire's kind of been going that kind of superhero social worker aspect, he's kind of just like going into just being an actual superhero. And he may not have all the powers that he had before, but he's making use of the ones that he does have, or the ones that he gets. And he's also just being proactive. And apart from like one hiccup, like in this volume, which is him hugging his brother again, he's pretty much made really good decisions throughout the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I just really feel like it was a big mistake giving Peter any powers back, period. So I've always been bummed about that. But, the retcon of his power is nice, and he seems like he's a little bit smarter now. Bessie?
I am going to go with the standoff between between Nathan and Peter, with Danko in the middle, basically. I think it's really short, really intense, and it kind of shows you where both characters are at. So yeah, how about you?
I love the basically opening scene of his memories with Angela, where she's like, retire and take care of Claire and yourself. And he's like, nah, I'm not domesticated, I'm good.
I am going to go with, me, I've always been comfortable with Morally Grey, which is obviously a throwback to Company Man. So yes.
Danko to Noah or whatever. I think it's better to work with one of us and one of us, or 10 of us, or 12 of us, and none of them.
Also, I've got to give a shout out to I think Parkman says he's middle management again at one point, which is also another kind of callback to season 1, where he just says exactly pretty much the same thing. So yeah,
it's like, you don't even know who the big guy at top is. I was like, but he knew Angela Petrelli, so then that's when I realized, I was like, oh, it's retconned. Okay. That's fine. Grade?
I'm gonna go with a B-, because I like we've said, it's a one story kind of episode, and it works well in giving us background to the character and the season as a whole, and also showing, like, still managing to move the story forward. So yeah, how about you?
I'm gonna give this a C+, and I'm gonna say that this is like taking overall consideration of somebody who watched it live and where I was feeling at this point, and rewatching it, I still kind of feel like this. Like, this was like the death of the potential for a new beginning for Heroes, and it's just like we're only 3 or 4 episodes into this new volume, and every opportunity they take to right the wrongs of the previous volume, it's like they just avoid it with a passion, and things just get less and less impressive. And I feel like for a lot of people, me specifically, especially, it was just a frustrating hour of television to watch. It was like a great opportunity for a story with stunning revelations, but instead I felt like it was a complete waste and rehash.
Oh no, but that's probably why I liked it so much, because it was a rehash. But I also think they did kind of learn from their mistakes. Like, we'll obviously talk about some of the storylines that happen in the next kind of episodes, but they kind of plant red herrings to what happened before. They kind of plant red herrings towards that, and I kind of like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. So trivia.
trivia, we pretty much said them all. So yeah, there's not much I can really say. So yeah, we will go into the graphic novel, Comrades Part 1 and Comrades Part 2, or Comrades Part 1. That was really bad. I'm sorry, that was my Siler impression of him doing accents. The first
maybe
one,
that's the worst person you want to imitate.
the first one, it's basically flashback comics, and it's Noah on a mission. He's on a mission in Russia. He meets his old partner or slash mentor Ivan, and we also realize that he has Claude with him. And they're on the hunt for special. They don't know who the special is. They just think that it's a family of specials. And during the novel, we find out that it's just one person, and he's an age shifter. And it ends with the age shifter shifting down to like being a kid, and Noah's got pointing a gun at him, and it kind of ends on the will he shoot a kid. So yeah, moves on to Comrades Patu, and yes, he doesn't shoot him obviously. 1 minute. He doesn't shoot him, but he says that it doesn't necessarily mean that he won't shoot him in the future, and it kind of starts to show the doubt that Claude's having about the company and its people. And Claude kind of lets the Russian company, the Russian guy that they're chasing, the Russian fugitive that they're chasing, he lets him escape, and it kind of puts Claude, on the company radar. And then we kind of find out that Ivan's kind of manipulating Noah into kind of doing all this, and that's kind of what's starting Noah on this kind of a quote-unquote dark path of being morally grey. And it also, evil has many faces. It's not necessarily just the people that you're chasing, but it's sometimes the person within or the people who are standing right next to you. So yes, that is the end of Comrades Part 2.
Okay, well, both Part 1 and Part 2, the story was by Christopher Zada, and the art was by Michael Gados. The Part 1 Easter egg was a picture of Matt, Peter, Mohinder, and Noah from the previous episode, and this one is a picture of Justin Baldoni and Hayden Panettiere, Alex Woosley.
Yeah.
And I believe it's the one in the closet.
Cool. So we have the live tweeters, the people who were tweeting, retweeting, or faving during the episode. We have Sissa G, Pope_Melissa, Cynthia667, English Idiot 101, Soft_Guitar 60, and Mike Schmidt 09. And we also have an email from our favorite English Idiot 101. I know we say this every time, but we should really get on the podcast one time. I liked parts of Building 26, such as Claire saving Alex from her father, and Sandra finally seeing sense in her relationship to Noah. Tracy's escape was tense and well done. I really don't like Luke, he just annoys me. Also, Silas' story seems at the moment too far from the rest of the stories. Danko is a good villain, one that you just love to hate. I really enjoyed the fast-paced and intense atmosphere of Cold Wars, especially as it also had flashbacks. It was basically the season 3 equivalent of Company Man, but it was good, thankfully. I liked how Nathan doesn't want the specials dead. It humanizes an otherwise selfish character. The dialogue was pretty good as well.
The site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80-plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that can interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDiaz. That's RICKYJDIAZ, or Z if you're American.
we're back at the wrap up. We want to thank you for joining us on this episode. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion. It was slightly longer than the last one. See, we told you.
Yeah.
We held up our end of the bargain. Please do remember to send us in some emails. Keep interacting with our Facebook post. Don't be afraid to like, share, and comment. And our live tweeting days of Heroes, the original series, is coming to an end. So please be sure to join in when you can while it's still going on every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to know more information about that, you can find it on the Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr.
Download podcast, save the world.
That sounded a little bit better, yeah. There we go.